Okay, imagine a film festival where the wildest ideas come to life. A man turning into a fish, androids replacing dead lovers, and teenagers battling real estate tycoons. Welcome to Locarno Pro 2025, where filmmakers aren't just pitching movies, they are weaponizing cinema to dissect the chaos of modern existence. Personally, I think this year's lineup isn't just about storytelling, it's about using surrealism and raw emotion to scream into the void of our collective anxieties. Let's unpack what's really going on here. First off, why does every project feel like it's tearing open a fresh wound? Take Dyspno, where a marine biologist's body literally mutates during a father-daughter retreat. On the surface, it's body horror, but what's fascinating is how it weaponizes physical transformation as a metaphor for emotional collapse. Beckhoff isn't just making a weird sci-fi flick, he's asking, what happens when your body becomes a battlefield for unspoken trauma? That's not escapism, that's a mirror held up to anyone who's ever faked being fine while quietly drowning. Then there's Humanoid, where a grieving artist builds an android of her dead partner. At first glance, it sounds like a Black Mirror episode, but dig deeper. Rorarius isn't interested in tech ethics debates. She's using the android as a Trojan horse to attack patriarchal expectations of motherhood. Think about it. The protagonist doesn't just rebuild her lover, she reclaims autonomy by rejecting the idea that women need societal approval to define their family structures. This isn't sci-fi, it's a manifesto in a lab coat. But let's talk about the real MVP of weirdness, Cuore Matto. A queer feminist musical set in 1960s Switzerland. That's like mashing La La Land with pride and setting it to Italian pop. What makes this brilliant is how it weaponizes nostalgia. By framing LGBTQ+ identity through a 60s lens, Rugley isn't just telling a coming-of-age story, he's exposing how every generation has to reinvent rebellion, because the system keeps repackaging oppression. And the music. Those songs aren't just catchy, they're emotional Molotov cocktails. Now, why are so many of these films obsessed with crumbling bodies and decaying systems? Reign of Siluaries literally has characters cracking like parched earth, a metaphor so on the nose it's genius. But here's the twist, these aren't just disaster allegories. They're indictments of late-stage capitalism's promise that hard work protects you. Spoiler, it doesn't. The real horror isn't the catfish plague. It's realizing your corporate servitude won't save you when the ground starts shaking. And let's not forget Yumi, where parental surveillance turns into a vertical video nightmare. Lucy and Berlino aren't just trolling helicopter parents. They're dissecting how digital voyeurism warps identity. When the dad watches his daughter through an app, it's not just creepy. It's a microcosm of our entire culture of performative living. We're all starring in our own reality show now, and sometimes the director's watching from the next room. So what's the bigger pattern here? These films aren't just pushing boundaries, they're using absurdity to process real-world collapse. Climate disasters, toxic masculinity, surveillance capitalism, the list goes on. But instead of preachy lectures, these directors are giving us fever dreams that force us to ask, how do you maintain your humanity when the world feels like it's dissolving? What's next? Maybe cinema becomes our collective therapy session. Or maybe we'll all start seeing our own lives as third takes meta-narrative, where every personal drama is a movie within a movie. Either way, if you take a step back and think about it, the real story isn't the films themselves. It's the fact that we're desperate for art that screams as loudly as reality does. What do you think? Does surrealism hold the answer to our unraveling world? Or are we just getting started with the chaos? Let's talk in the comments.